let's talk about Rise Lentless. It's my company that sells fun coffee mugs for entrepreneurs, side hustlers, business people, for anyone who dares to dream.
I should have mine by next week. I had to buy one
Yeah.
myself. Danny does not like me enough to get me one, so I
Well,
definitely had to
actually,
pay full price and full
that's
shipping. I
true.
didn't even get a
That's
discount
right.
code. I
Nope.
got nada, folks. I got
You got
nada, so
nothing.
hopefully I get it next week. We'll see
Well,
how
we'll
it
see.
goes.
If I might just call my supplier up and tell him to cancel your order, but keep the money. Like, yeah, don't ship it out, but keep his money.
Yeah, keep his money. Keep his money. Okay.
In ruining everybody's relationship news,
Uh huh.
Orbital Assembly Corp hits its $1 million fundraising goal for a space
A
hotel
space
in the
hotel.
sky.
I gotta say, when I read this article, I sent it over to Danny, and I thought, you know what, this is
Which and
freaking
I had
awesome.
already, and by the time the big man had
Uh
sent it
huh.
to me, 40 in our show notes. And I said, hey, this is already in our show notes. You think I'd bother reading that?
I don't bother reading that. I
I know
don't.
you don't.
I don't prepare for shows. But the point is though, I have important things to do. But it's talk. They're talking
Nothing.
about
You have nothing more.
2000. They're talking about 2027.
That's
Like
right.
they're
That's only
talking
like 6 years from now.
6 years from now. A low orbit space hotel that, oh,
Yeah.
by the way, will be offering. Hold on. Let me. Where was it? Offering low gravity gymnasium and private spacewalks.
Yeah. Can you imagine your wife and or girlfriend or significant other being like, so like Tanya's husband took them to space and you keep taking me to Cancun and I feel like
Con
you don't
con.
love me enough because like Tanya's husband, they went to space and they stayed at the orbital.
They stayed at
Okay.
the orbital. I don't even know where that is, but I
It's
know
right.
I've never been there.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, can you imagine? Because I'm already seeing the, whatever young lady I'm seeing at the time being like, I mean, like, it's what they call that. She took me to Cancun, but if we could go to space, that'd be cooler.
Well, so like obviously nowhere in this article does it even estimate what it would cost to stay at said space hotel. It does, however, say that they are presuming that you must have a net worth of nearly $50 million to
Okay.
be able to afford it.
Listen, I'm only $49,999,000 away from being able to afford this.
But I mean, if they're saying you have to have a net worth of 50 million,
Yeah.
it's got to be millions of dollars. Like they've got to be thinking, all right, it's going to have, according to this article, it's going to have 400 people at a time,
Yeah.
right? I would assume that's probably an estimated 200 suites, 220,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Something like that. Probably at different price ranges, right, or whatever. But okay, let's just play the what if game, right? And it says it's the quote unquote world's first large scale space construction company, is how they're billing themselves. Because obviously, if this worked, they would just build another and build another and build another and build another. So, but let's play the what if game, right? You're worth 150, $200 million. Would you be okay paying, what would you be willing to pay, maybe is the better question, to
Um.
stay at the space? I'm not going to be the first month. I'm not going
Yeah.
to the space hotel the first week, the first month.
Yeah.
But let's say it's a year in, people are safe, they're coming back and forth. What
Yeah.
do you
Let me
pay?
put it. Let me put it to you this way. It depends how old I am. If I'm getting close to where it's like, well, let's say I'm 75. Okay. My
Okay.
grandfather on both sides, they both lived in well into their 80s. If I'm 75, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm gonna kick the bucket at some point, right?
So why not go to the space hotel
Let's
and
go to
if
space.
it all goes downhill
Now,
from there?
if I'm 60 and like I'm thinking, shoot, man, I still like want to do some dangerous stuff. I'm not trying to go to space. Like this is when it's the final frontier for a reason. This is
Well,
the last trip I'm going on because if it doesn't work out, they can just send some dust back from the moon and say these are his ashes, and they have my family spreads them in Corpus Christi as per my living will. But I'm not doing I'm not doing this till I'm good and old. Okay.
So not even if it's up there for a while, a couple of
Nope.
years, whatever.
No.
You still see. I would
And
go.
at that point,
I would definitely go.
though, I mean, but I'm just saying they have extra wide seats for us to get on the rocket ship. I
Well,
feel like
if you're worth, a couple of $100 million,
they'll
they'd
figure it
probably
out quick.
get you a pretty comfy seat. You know
Okay.
what I mean? On there.
I'm just
But
saying.
think about
Yeah.
that. You got to go up. You got to go
Yeah.
up to get to it, and you got to come back down.
So that's where I'm already. And listen, I'm not a scare. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm dying. Not interested in dying though. I'm a huge fan of living. So I'm addicted to life. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff in my life I've decided I'm just going to put off until later age. And that's strictly because the risk of dying is high enough that I go, well, if you kick the bucket at that age, who cares? Right?
Well, no, and I get what you're saying there, but at the same time, there's certain things, and I am afraid of heights. I don't like heights. I don't like flying. I fly all the time, or I did before you know what I mean, insanity. But so it wasn't debilitating. Neither is my fear of heights, but I don't like it. Gravity has a great hold on me, and I don't.
Well,
I don't
for a
ride,
lot of reasons.
I don't ride roller coasters. I
Well,
don't.
for also, I don't think you fit on them.
But the point is I wouldn't even if I fit. It's just not my thing, right?
Well, no, it is my thing. I so like I was living into I was back a couple years ago, and I went out to the Grand Canyon for my father's a landmark birthday, and my father's afraid of heights, and there's a couple places around the Grand Canyon where there's no fencing. You just sit on the side of the Grand Canyon.
Oh God, no! God,
so
no.
my mom and
Not
her
even
sister
close.
and they were just like kicking their legs off, and my father, of course, is just
you
like,
talking about it makes my legs weak. No joke.
So I took a picture really close to the edge, and I'm got my arms out like this, and he's like, "That's too far. That's too far. Come back. It's too far." And I'm just like, "It's fine."
Me and your dad would get along.
Yeah, I don't think so, but he was a good. I was a good 5 feet away from the edge of the canyon, and like it's too far. If I fall over right now, I have 7 inches. I'm 5'7". There's enough of my body it's fine.
No.
Yeah, it's fine. It wasn't a big deal. But it was a good time. So I hear where you're coming from there, but that is not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about getting Apollo 11. Okay.
Well, but at that point, you got to think. I mean, come on. Obviously, we talked about SpaceX on the same podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, and their one that they actually just landed again blew up like 10 minutes after it sat down.
Well,
so, I don't know if that's a win.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a win for 10 minutes, but,
here's where I'm coming from. Like I said, I don't care if they've had this thing perfected for dozens of years. When I started flying on airplanes, it had been perfected for like 30 years.
Yeah,
right?
decades.
Or 40 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the timeline I'm thinking. Right? Before I'm like, yeah, let's go to space.
Would you take your, and this is assuming you would have any, but would you take your kids or grandkids if you were going? Like, would it, even though you were like, all right, I'm 75, I'm 80, I'm whatever, would you take the kids and grandkids? They want to go. No? You can't. No, you can't.
They can make their own. My kids can make their own. Adults, assuming if I had adult children, they can make their own. Right, and they have a different risk tolerance than I do.
Uh-huh.
But they might. But I'm no. If I have children old enough that I got to pay for them, they're not coming to.
Oh well, that's children of any age, brother.
Well,
there is no stopping point for that. Anyway, but no, look, I think this easily falls into one of those. It's a really cool story. I also find out that it's not the only company trying this. There's another one called Axiom Space.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing. Though, big man. Don't we know that it's not going to be there? It's not happening.
Well, of course not. We were supposed to have flying cars by now. We don't have those either.
And all I got was 280 characters.
Yeah, so I mean, so do I think that there's going to be a hotel floating, in 2027? I'm not going to hold my breath, but it would be really cool if there was.
Right. Well, I guess that's, interesting. Well, anyways, hey, folks, that is it for Idiots versus Idiots. I do want to remind you to like this video. If you can
Mm-hmm.
share it on your Facebooks, on your Twitters, on your Instagrams, that's much appreciated. Of course, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We're trying to start a program here that people listen to.
Yeah, so listen to it and subscribe,
And hey,
and I'm gonna
listen.
get Danny on the TikToks. That's what I'm gonna do.
Nope, not happening.
I'm gonna get Danny on the
There's
Chinese
nope,
data
nope.
collection TikToks.
That's all right. And I do want to leave you off with this one piece of advice: never ever be embarrassed. Share your feelings. Only be embarrassed that you have so many feelings.
You got. You're an idiot. You're an
You
idiot.
are too. You too. Right back at you, Slick.
We'll see you next time, folks.
Well.